What is up, my dudes? Welcome back to Storytime with the one, the only Reddit fairy. My name is Lorna, and today we're getting into the r/ChoosingBeggars subreddit. So without further ado, sit back, relax, and let's get right into it. Choosing Beggar accepts my mom's offer for free food, then disappears before she can receive it. Posted by user Alex_Lee_fandoms. This is my mom's story that just happened about an hour ago. Sadly, she doesn't have Reddit, so I'm going to tell it instead. But first, insert an obligatory lurker/mobile/first post warning here. TLDR, look at the title. Also, this is pretty short, so just read it. So my mom went to the In-N-Out to get me food because I'm lazy and she can sometimes be nice. She told me that she saw a woman with a 5 to 6-year-old child, presumably her daughter. The woman had a sign that said something along the lines of, "Need money for food, hungry, homeless," usual stuff like that. My mom, since she was in a good mood or something, told the woman, "Stay here, I'll get your daughter something, but I won't give you money." Pretty reasonable for a couple of hungry homeless people, right? Nope. The lady responded, "Okay, I really want cash, but we'll wait for you." Then my mom went inside. She actually did get them a meal, but when she went outside, the woman and her daughter were nowhere to be found. They weren't in the parking lot, behind the store, across the street, anywhere. It was like they disappeared. My mom, of course, jumped to the conclusion that the woman was a drug seeker and her daughter was there as bait. I have to put the disclaimer that not all homeless people who reject food are drug seekers. Some do it because of bad experiences, poison food, for example, and others have allergies that can't be accounted for. What makes this woman stand out is that she accepted my mom's offer, then just disappeared. If she didn't want the food, she could have just politely rejected the offer. Kinda short, but I wanted to share it. Edit. A couple of hours have passed after this post. My mom went to the nearby supermarket across the street, and the same woman and daughter were with the same sign, except the sign now has "No food wanted, only cash" written on it as well. She told me she didn't approach them, but I can tell from the way she told me that it hurt her. Oh, well, your mom shouldn't let it get to her. It was really nice of her to offer to help. So your mom is a saint, and it sounds like this might not be a typical thing of her to do. So I give her even more kudos for stepping out of her normal box and trying to do something to help someone else. That's cool. People need to do more of that, and the world would be a much better place. Very insistent homeless man. Posted by user Halorian, I think. Hello all. So I was on my way home at 2200 hours from work, and I often stop off in the shop on the way home to pick a few things up. I was just about to enter the shop when I was approached by a man who asked me if I could spare £1, as he did not have enough to get food. I'm not usually one to carry cash on me. I pay for nearly everything on the card, so I very rarely have change on me. This time, however, I checked my wallet and I had 20 pence, so I offered it to him, and he said thanks. Then I go to walk into the store. The man then turns and says, "What about when you come out of the shop?" I explained to him that I will be paying on the card, so I will not have any change. He then said, "Well, can you get cash back?" So I replied, "But then it will be a note and not change." He replied with, "I will give you a £5 note if you do it." Bearing in mind that the shop does £10 minimum, this guy now wanted me to give him £5 instead of £1. He continued to ask even after I told him no, so I just walked away feeling very angry because he has made me not want to give change to homeless people now. Apologies in advance for the format and any grammar mistakes. Hope it was not too hard to read. Oh, it was good. Oh my god. So he's a little bit of a con artist. I think he's tried this with other people before, and he's like, ask them for £1, and then if they don't have money on them, then you can try to get more because they can't get change. So yeah, I think this guy's tried this on many people. I'm gonna go ahead and go with that conclusion, my dudes. I really do think so. A bigger bag of free dog food? Posted by user Dead Kennedy's Rock. This happened around springtime, but a recent situation reminded me of it. For context, earlier this year I turned 18 and lost my job about the same time. My mother gave me until the next Friday from that day to get out of the house as I could no longer contribute to bills. Okay, let me just stop there. I don't understand that logic. You don't have a job, you can't contribute to bills. You can't, basically meaning you can't fend for yourself, so your mom's gonna kick you out on the street? That's fucked. That's fucked. I'm sorry, your mom may be a nice lady, but that's fucked. Okay, back to the story. The Wednesday before I had to be out, I got my last paycheck, headed across the street at like 1 a.m. to buy something to snack on. I saw an apparently homeless woman sitting outside the 7-Eleven with a small cart type thing full of shit and a wiener dog. I stopped to smoke a cigarette in the parking lot, decided to talk to her. While getting tips on how to survive being homeless, she told me she was addicted to heroin. I offered to buy her a coffee after our conversation. She took me up on it and brought all of her stuff, and dog, inside. Goes to make herself a coffee while I buy my things. I also decide to buy a bag of dog food, worrying that most of her money would be going to heroin and not the dog. It wasn't that much price-wise or cost, but it was the biggest bag they had. 7-Eleven isn't known for their wide selection of dog kibble. I'd say about 10 or 15 pounds bag, but the dash hunt wasn't very large. It was actually kind of small for its breed. Well, she comes to the counter and I'm all set to pay for this coffee when she goes to put the food on her cart and remarks that the bag is a bit small. And, "Could you buy a bigger bag?" Not at all in a nice tone of voice. Now, I've just offered to buy her 2 cigarettes, a free coffee with any size or add-ons, and a free bag of dog food, which she had none of before I bought some. I tell her that the food is already paid for and to have a nice night. I throw down $2 for the coffee, grab it, and walk out the door. She yells after me, "Hey, that's mine!" I say, "Well, I just bought it, but it's only a medium. You probably wanted a large, right?" I leave her across the street. Not so crazy a story, but the nerve of some people, right? Well, at least he was nice enough to leave the dog food. I mean, he's not like he's gonna need it for anything, but yeah, that's fucked. She knows that he's about to be in a bad position. And but I don't know. Maybe he went a little extreme with that one. I don't know. It's kind of funny though. It is pretty funny, I'll give it that. Entitled People meets Choosing Beggars with a touch of malicious compliance and a twist. Posted by user Dumbledore-. This is the mother of all Reddit posts. But first, the obligatory statements. I'm on mobile and exhausted, so I probably will have typos. The backstory. My friend, through high school, and I both enlisted in the military. I went Guard, he went Army Reserves. We talked in our senior year about a town a few hours away that had multiple gold mines and an amazing economy. We talked about renting a spot out there and going to work at the mines to save up some cash and get a good start. This was just idealism, and we had no intent to actually follow through. A few years go by. I married my high school sweetheart, and he married some girl I don't know how he met. I worked my way up through restaurants while in the Guard, and my district manager offered me a raise, moving expenses, and a promotion within the year if I moved to the gold mining town to open a new restaurant. I jumped on the chance as the pay, $40,000 salary with a promotion to $65,000 within the year, and $3,000 for moving was great at 20 years old. This is where the crazy starts. I told my friend, we will call him Jay for jerkwad, that I was getting moved to that town and that my wife and I planned to buy a home there and settle down. He never really got his crap together by this point. His dad died while he was at basic training and he stayed with me for a good bit. My wife and I felt bad for him and said he could stay with me for a bit while my wife finished college and he could try to make a living there. He got excited, thinking it would be his big chance, and was so grateful. For a time. We got to Elko, and for the first 4 to 5 months, he, his wife, and I stayed in a long-term hotel there while I waited for my wife to finish the semester and then to pick up a home/finish escrow and all. This drained my pocket alongside buying food for the three of us, but Jay would contribute some of his 2 days a month to duty with the reserves, and that helped some. Needless to say, I blew through a lot of my salary taking care of them, and somehow they just couldn't find work. Well, I was hiring for a new restaurant and had to take on over 100 people, so I offered them both a job. They started eagerly, but very quickly realized that being a waiter is more than just writing orders and goofing off. They immediately became a huge issue and would often boast that they were my friends and that they were the best at the job and deserved whatever things they thought themselves entitled to. Their first write-up came within 2 weeks at most. They seemed incapable of doing the most basic things and weren't putting the thought/time into figuring out their job, despite me trying to train them and coach them. They made me look terrible. I ended up having to fire them a month and a half or so in because they refused to do side work and somehow showed that this restaurant, rhymes with pennies, was too hard for them to handle working for. I left that job to work at one of the gold mines, my work history and ethic having secured me a highly paid and amazing position. At gold mines like this, you get hired as a position, but unless you're an engineer/management, you start off just doing menial labor. Think non-stop shoveling tons of ore for a 12-hour shift. Made military seem like freaking cake. They do this to prove your work ethic. I made it onto crew in 3 days. Only one person made it before me. We had our own home by now and moved in maybe 2 months earlier. Jay was still with us, but has still never found a job. My wife was now with us as well, and he absolutely made her life hell. She and I are Mormon and don't drink, want to go to watch movies they're into, so they get the idea in their head that my wife is a public enemy number one. They start talking crap to her and treating her terrible while I'm at the mines working, rotating shifts, 4 to 5 hours bus round trip and 12-hour shifts, to the point she stopped leaving the room unless it was to make dinner for when I got home. She didn't talk to me until it was getting bad. Here is where Jay and my wife get into a war. Jay doesn't like where we keep our dishes. He rearranged the cups. Faith didn't talk to them anymore, so she put them back and left a note asking not to move our cups. Jay then moves every other dish and waits. My wife told me about the things by this point, and I walk into the kitchen after a long shift where I pulled 2 hours overtime on top of my shift and the commute, so I'm like 21 hours into a hellish day. I see Jay's malicious compliance and just, nope. He's been living with us rent-free and eating our food, playing Xbox all day on our TV and taking up the entire living room. I call him in and he sees me in the kitchen and gets this stupid, self-satisfied grin. Cue a huge fight. I ask why the hell he moved everything in my home to spite my wife and why the hell he couldn't be grateful for the nearly a year of free housing. I rent this house for $1,500 a month now. The jobs I got them and they threw away, and why they didn't get to any of the job fairs. How I got my job. It should be said that by this point, I was also in a major car wreck, and despite my injuries qualifying me as disabled, I pushed my body to the limits to keep my job and stay in the National Guard. He starts screaming, "You have no idea what she's like when you're not here." I reply, "True, but sadly, I know exactly what you're like when I'm not here. This is her house. You're just a guest." He then picks up the footrest thing from my nice recliner and chucks it across the room in a tantrum. I tell him it's done. He needs to get the fuck out now. I won't tolerate him breaking my crap or getting violent. He screams that he'll leave, but "You better help me get my stuff out tonight or I'm not leaving," smugly. I tell him that no, I'm injured and don't owe you a damn thing. Jay yells back, You're so bitch made, acting like you're all hurt and crap. Freaking female anatomy part. I shoot back. At least I can provide for my family. Your pregnant wife's gonna be living in a box if you're the provider. But then again, I don't know if you could hold that down either. He started getting up in my face and I told him he could stop threatening me or leave, or I'd grab my gun and ensure his threats stop. He leaves and calls 2 people he knew nearby that for some reason liked him and his wife. The man in that couple loudly threatened me while grabbing Jay's crap, but I just sat outside my room. Wife was inside it, with my gun holstered on my hips, and let them get their meager belongings and leave. They stole some of our stuff when they left, but it was worth it to get them out. They also picked their nose and left their boogers on their bedroom walls for months, apparently. Disgusting freaking goblins. We let one of my coworkers take the extra room they vacated when he lost his home, and by God, he was so much better than my best friend I'd known and helped through losing multiple family members and tried giving him a shot to get ahead in life. Sorry for the super long post. It's cathartic to post, to be honest. I still can't believe how much of an entitled D-bag Jay was. TLDR, best friend and his pregnant wife stay rent-free with me and my wife for at least 8 months. Don't have to pay for food or any bills. Can't even hold down a menial job and make me fire them after I stuck my head out to hire them and then wage war against my wife while I work. Oh my God. Okay, so this started out from this D-bag Jay moving his dishes. I understand it was in spite, but how does that escalate into threatening him with your gun? What? This is why I don't like guns. People are too quick to jump to them as a threat. It's fucked. You're willing to shoot somebody over moving dishes. Really? 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 I'm sorry. This, I guess I'm triggered, but I mean, it's this guy is clearly a choosing beggar because this totally fits in this sub, but wow, that escalated quickly. PS4 delivery and party setup, posted by user BlondieBear73. A couple of years ago, had sold a PS4 on local internet selling site. One potential buyer was insistent we were asking too much and that she wanted it delivered that day and set up for her son's birthday party. When we didn't respond immediately, she said maybe come out with it for the party today and set it up for free and go back home with it after the party. Again, we did not respond, and she went ballistic, saying how we ruined her son's party as our PS4 was their only entertainment. Wish I saved screenshots of the full rant. Priceless. Oh my God, I wish they saved screenshots too. Why would you even delete those? Like, okay, and I'm sorry, like, why are kids these days relying on a console for a birthday party? Like, there's so much shit you could do. Like, go rent one of those little bouncy castles or, like, play out fucking side. Like, be a fucking kid. Oh. Dude, listen. You have your whole life to play video games. You don't have your whole life for all that energy you have as a child and, like, all the things that you can figure out that you're good at, that you can work at, that you can be even more amazing at when you're an adult. When you step away from video games, unless you really love video games that much and you want to make them, that's different. Then that's still, you're passionate about something. For a birthday party, though, come on. Get outside. Go jump on trampolines. Learn how to do a cartwheel. Like, fuck. I wanted to know how to do a backflip so bad when I was a kid. I wanted to go into gymnastics, and I never got that chance. And I ended up in front of a computer a lot. So, speaking from experience, live your childhood, my little dudes. Then again, I hope there are no little dudes watching my videos because I'm a bad influence. First experience with a choosing beggar on the Facebook Marketplace, posted by user The Daily Mail for You. This isn't as outrageous as some Reddit posts about choosing beggars, but it's my first experience with a choosing beggar, and it's probably not going to be the last either. I was selling my old car for £700 on Facebook. It was a 12-year-old Renault Clio. Apart from the high miles, she was in fantastic condition and high spec too, with sunroof, Bluetooth, etc. So a guy responds to the ad offering to pay £700, saying the car was for his daughter. Agreed to all the usual stuff. Car park, cash in hand, all the usual stuff. Agreed on the money, but he wanted to see the vehicle in person. Completely fair. A newish BMW X3 pulls in and it's just the guy, no daughter. He goes around to inspect the car. He was a tire ticker and tries to look underneath the car as well. No offense, but due to how huge, he couldn't get low enough to look under the car. Guy. Car's in great condition, mate. Me. Yeah, she is. So what you thinking? Guy. Think my daughter's gonna love it. Great, I was thinking in my head. Oh, I was wrong. Guy. Thing is, mate, I only have £500 with me. Me. But you agreed to £700. Guy. Yeah, I know, but I was expecting to negotiate with you. I'll take it off your hands right now. Me. Sorry, but that isn't what you agreed to. Guy. £500. Take it or leave it. Me. I'll leave it today, thanks. I got in the car and drove away. Whole time, the guy was doing the, come on, mate. I don't care, I just wanted to leave. Maybe a little bit could have been taken off, but not 30% of the value of the car. Maybe it was a little petty, but it was the fact that he already agreed to the £700 was what got to me. He didn't meet his end of the deal, and to me, that really matters. I don't know, I swear I'm gonna hate myself when I go back to edit this video and listen to that accent I just did. So if I offended anybody with that accent, I'm so sorry. I think I changed to like 3 or 4 different accents doing that whole thing. But yeah, this is why I don't do accents. But yeah, I totally feel OP because when I was selling my truck, like I said before in other videos, there were people that just love to lowball, but at least they did so before meeting up with me. This guy, this is real fucking cowardly to wait until you actually get there, check it all out, and then offer less. Like, no, that's not how it works. You just waste everybody's time when you do it that way. And the final story of the day is called Are Those Fair Game? Posted by user Nataleska. I went to Costco on the weekend and bought 2 packs of muffins, 1 blueberry, and 1 of the double chocolate. I like to put them in the freezer and have them there for when I work early shifts and don't allow myself enough time for breakfast. My housemate is an entitled ass who expects to be allowed to consume everyone else's stuff because he always replaces it with a similar item of inferior quality. Housemate. Oh, you did some grocery shopping at Costco? Are those blueberry muffins on the table fair game? Me. No, those are my muffins. Housemate. Can I have 1 then? He's making it evident in his tone of voice that apparently I'm being unreasonable for not allowing him to open slather on my food. Me. The blueberry ones are my favorite, so no. You can have 1 of the double chocolate ones, but I put them in the freezer already, so you'll need to microwave it. Housemate. Fine. Storms off. He didn't have any of the muffins. I decided to take them and give to a friend at work instead. You know what you should do? All the stuff that you absolutely love, if you have access to a fridge at work, just bring them all to work, label them at work, and hopefully you don't have the same problem with your coworkers. That's what I'd say. That's what I used to do. I used to bring stuff to work and just hide it there. Like, yeah, it would last a hell of a lot longer that way. That's for damn sure. All right, my dudes, that's all the stories I have for you today. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please smash that like button. You know it really, really helps me out when you do. And don't forget to subscribe if you're new around here, and hit that little bell icon to be notified when I have future videos just like this, so you never miss one. And as always, the links to these stories will be in the description, so head on over to Reddit and show those posters some love with some upvotes, because you know they deserve it. And don't forget to submit your stories, my dudes. I had a quick read over Percy's story last night, and my eyes were so tired that I couldn't really focus on it, so I'm gonna give it another read tonight, get back to Percy, and then hopefully we'll have some no sleep and some spooky Let's Not Meet stories happening for this weekend. So until next time, my dudes, stay sassy, I'll miss you all, and have a fantabulous evening.